Hello and welcome back to the Four Bs. Bullish, Bitcoin, banter, and bullshit. It is pod 194. I'm Mr. All In. I am joined by Dr. Evil 10%. So Neverlook is currently on Epstein Island at the Fountain de la Innocence doing some kind of Pizzagate. And
Always eating hot dogs.
you know, like a hot dog or a bit of pizza. Who knows? Maybe a bit of both. Manage à trois. And then we have Mrs. No Show, obviously just not showing up. Probably just doing admin for Sir Neverlook's conversations with the Epstein admin team. But how's everything going?
Yeah, good. Apart from the full being shit. Um, I, I haven't really been paying much attention to Bitcoin lately. I think my thread on Twitter is now full of AI Harry Potter. I
What the
got
hell?
sent a few clips and now it's absolutely destroyed my my feed on Twitter.
Harry Potter. How has it got Harry Potter in it?
So they've been redoing all the Harry Potters. So it's like I think it's called Harry Spotter. Then you got Dripwarts, where they're like talk a bit funny, wear certain clothes. And it's
What is this, a porn spin-off or something? Like, what are you talking about?
now this is actually people have been using. So the reason why RAM is so expensive at the moment is because people are making AI videos of Harry Potter in like
Oh,
different.
so all the fandoms are like putting in their own storylines and creating their own fan fiction
It's
of
literally
Harry
like
Potter.
5 minute clips of it.
Well, and you've been watching these, and then so Twitter's gone, you want some more? And you're like, fuck yeah.
Now I get AI cat videos by the plenty. So cats doing various things like playing the bagpipes.
Man, all I get is the fucking Artemis moon scam. Because that's the only thing that I engage with at the moment, I think, in the last week.
I thought yours would just be about a certain section of society.
Well, it to a certain extent, like I think because that certain section of society that will nickname the blues, um, they technically own all this anyway. So I think when they are trending, I don't think they just continue to put blues content down the algorithm. I think they have a bit of a black mark on that. Whereas other stuff, they continue. So I saw some of that Artemis stuff and like, oh man, they're so hilarious. Like when they forget that they're on a time delay and they say do a thumbs up if you just recorded that, and the guy without even hesitation is meant to be a 9 second delay, right? He thumbs up straight away, and the other person's like, no, and then they all just wait like 9 seconds and then go. You're like, dude, you've already done the thumbs up. We already saw it. There's one where the little teddy that they're throwing around, it like one of the guys is holding it and it just drops to the floor. And like whoops. And like the other guy at the other end goes, like he's like panicking that their little teddy that is proven to be like, they use as a proven thing that look, we are in space because like otherwise this plushie wouldn't be floating. And it just drops to the floor. Another one where it's floating across the woman's lap, like you see her hands. There's a shadow on her lap, and the plushie is in her hand, and there's no shadow of the plushie on her bottom, on her legs. And then we see the other side of the plushie, and it's got a little red dot on it, and it's basically that's what they use in CGI to basically be able to follow an object and map it on afterwards. You just like, so I just have to kind of like go stop, just I'm a Bitcoiner. I don't care about this stuff. I know everything is fake and gay. It's fake and gay. Walk, just move on with your life. And but I can't help doing a little comment and be like, haha, or I can't believe this. This is just fucking nuts. And then what does X do? Do you want some more? Do you want to see? Do you want to see an AI glitch where when this woman's arm goes over his leg, it like glitches out and you can see stars behind it because it's not even a real, they're on a green screen. Like, I don't want to see it now. I just want to like put me back in the Matrix and let me believe all the stuff that the normies believe. And oh man, it's just gone too far. I was defending Kanye West on LinkedIn the other day. Fuck me. That's where we're at now.
Kanye West on LinkedIn.
We know how Kanye got he's banned from the UK. He was going to headline Wireless, and then all the sponsors it got announced that he
You
was
mean
headlining.
after he had a rant about the Blues and they said, "Oh no, that's a conspiracy theory. They don't possibly do anything," and then yeah, he got banned
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can speak
as a
out,
show.
like they have no power. They don't rule the world, and then instantly the entire world cancels Kanye. You're like, talk about proving his point, you know. But yeah, so he was headlining Wireless, and then um the sponsors, I think, of the Wireless Festival started cancelling, and then Keir Starmer came up and basically banned him from the UK, even entering the UK, just in case the festival went ahead. They cancelled the festival anyway, and there's a lot of people on LinkedIn going, "Good." I just couldn't resist. I was like, just so you know, he hasn't done anything illegal. It's freedom of speech. The definition of freedom of speech is if your enemies can't say offensive things, you don't have freedom of speech. You have censored speech. I was left to that. I'm not defending him. You know, let's just assume for the sake of this argument that things he said were offensive, but you're allowed to say offensive things. And they just kept replying, going, nah, there's freedom of speech, but there's not freedom from consequence and da da da. And you go, freedom of consequence would mean you say
The
these nasty
fans don't pay.
things that are very offensive, and then when you put on a gig, no one comes. The consequence is you've alienated so many people, no one wants to come see you sing anymore. The fact is, if he'd headlined Wireless, it'd have been sold out and they'd have made an absolute mint. Because guess what? The people do agree with what he said, and the vast majority actually don't even give a shit about what he said. They just like his music, and they just want to turn up and listen to Kanye West songs. And I can guarantee which one they would really like to hear, really, really like to hear. But can't even say that. The title of the song is pretty fucking provocative, and but yeah. I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, I kind of can't believe it. Of course, the normies are like cheering it on, like, yeah, because weirdly, I think it was the somehow I'm linked in to one of the PR people of the Wireless Festival that then went on the BBC or something, was doing an interview, and they said, oh, they handled it great or something. And I'm just like, just so you know. You didn't, because def like supporting the cancellation of someone based on an opinion is not great. And they was literally even said the word, "Oh, this shows real leadership." It doesn't. Leadership would be to stand by your decision and to keep the artist on the roster. Cancelling the show and basically bowing your head to the UK government just proves you're a pussy like everybody else. Not It's the literally opposite of leadership. But yeah. And I just kind of realized, like, what am I doing? Like outing myself as being a free thinker on LinkedIn. I don't tend to like leave that to Bitcoin and the climate crisis morons. But now I seem to be drifting into blues content, which yeah, it doesn't bode well for my LinkedIn account. It's been banned once already for saying that Bill Gates went to Epstein Island, which he fucking did 46 times. But hey, that's you're not allowed to say that either, are you? Anyway, if we go on to Bitcoin.
I was going to say, yeah, 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 never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're actually recording. You can't say everything you want to say. But yeah, so our first story of the week is basically a few stories about David Sachs, all based around this announcement that essentially he came in as the crypto Caesar a couple of years ago and was supposed to educate Donald Trump on everything Bitcoin and, of course, crypto. Um, and yeah, and he's now moved into a different role. He's not the crypto Kazar now. He's now co-chair of the Tech Advisory Council, which supposedly it expands his role. But what do people have to say for this? Well, there's a couple of tweets here. The Trump family have made over $1 billion in crypto. I saw another tweet where apparently they're 4 billion richer so far, the Trump family, 1 billion just coming from crypto. And these are the things that the crypto Shazad was supposed to do. Essentially, every custodial exchange or wallet reports your transactions. Oh, no, these are the bad stuff. No, what else? Every custodial exchange or wallet reports your transactions to the IRS. Oh, right, so that happened now. That wasn't supposed to happen. So now that's bad. Oh yeah, Bitcoin not exempt from capital gains. Yeah, so we meant to reverse this. So we didn't want, if you've got a private wallet, we don't want your every transaction going to DRS. It should be for you to report it. Bitcoin was supposed to be exempt from capital gains, meant to be classified as money or as a currency. It's not. It's still classed as an asset, so capital gains. KYC, AML, no reform, privacy invasive regulations. To be honest, that one was never going to happen. Let's be honest. And so whatever. The privacy software developers still in jail. They're the samurai guys. They were supposed to be let out. All they were doing is creating a um, basically the mixer that we talked about numerous times. They create mixers. It's just a product. The product isn't illegal. If you want to call people laundering dirty money illegal, fine, but arrest them. Don't arrest the people that built the software. It's like arresting people that made a knife and then blame because someone picked up a knife and stabbed someone. It's ridiculous. Um, the strategic Bitcoin reserve never fucking happened. It's just full of shit coins. There's a bit of Bitcoin in there, but there's barely anything Bitcoin about it. And then the pump and dump scams are incredible. Obviously, we had the Trump coin, the Milena coin, whatever else.
Is there a Milena coin?
Yeah, the Milena coin is the one that actually ended their little run in that space. Because Trump coin did great. I think they had a World Liberty coin as well. But then they did Milena coin and they rugged it too quickly. So it was just it killed it. It was the end. That was pretty much the beginning of the end for crypto and not Bitcoin, crypto, and pretty much every shitcoin just died after that. The president of the United States released three shitcoins. The third one failed, and if the president of the United States can't launch a successful shitcoin, then no one can. And it just the faith was lost. But the one thing we did get, Ross Ulbricht is free. Which I remember talking about this when Trump first got in, and he was promising the world pretty much a load of those things, basically making Bitcoin being more tax friendly, potentially building a Bitcoin reserve for the United States, and also stopping so many invasive regulatory things happening in Bitcoin specifically that are over and above what the existing financial world have to do. He did none of that, but I remember saying, if he lets Ross Ulbricht out, I'll just take it as a win because at least he's a good guy that, he started Silk Road. But again, it's a tool. It was a peer-to-peer tool. You can trade anything. People did use it for a lot of drugs and all that kind of stuff. It was the number one product on there, but there's plenty of other products. But it was a tool. If you have got a problem with what that tool is being used for, arrest the people using the tool, not the tool. And he got put in prison for 140 years. He'd served 10. Yeah, so he still served 10 years in prison, but he's out. So at least he did that one. But
And he got
he,
access to his hidden stash of Bitcoin, didn't he? So I think
yeah,
a very suspicious wallet.
yeah, yeah. It's a fair play to Ross for getting out, and you know, I'm a little Bitcoin screwed away, but Christ, yeah, the David Sachs and Donald Trump have not restored my faith in politics whatsoever. They I knew it was going to happen anyway. We can literally go back to the podcast where we were talking about it, where it's like, this looks really exciting. And it was always met with pretty much skepticism going, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. I can't see them doing any of this. The only thing I thought was a long stretch was a pardon for one guy is possible. And that's the thing that happened. Nothing else did.
See, when it's really particular, I think this is what I've said to you about politics is when they're like kind of got quite an open agenda, you're not going to get anything, or you may get something really shit. But when they're very specific around a point, that's when you actually know what you can vote for,
Mm.
because you're going to lose on 99% of the policies. But there may be one which kind of makes your life a little bit easier, such as if a party came up with the abolition of 20-mile-per-hour speed limits. I would vote for that, no matter what their other policies were.
Yeah, you can tell you're Welsh. Every time I go visit my dad, I'm like, how do you do these 20-mile speed limits? Fucking hell. I'm just doing 40 down there, thinking it's a 30, going, fucking hell. All the locals are looking at me going, fucking boy racer. I'm like, it's not my fault. You fucking live in Wales. It's basically a backwards country now. Like you're driving that. Like who the fuck can live here? How would you just go to the shops driving 20 miles an hour? It takes me an hour and a half. Go a mile. Might as well walk backwards faster. What a fucking joke. Um, the next one, we're still in American politics, unfortunately. So we've got the Genius Act. Uh, so this is actually, there's quite a bit moved on since this, because this is a little bit old, isn't it? Yeah, March 27th. Yeah, so we're 2 weeks old, which I guess we should apologize for the fact haven't been around for 2 weeks. So some of these stories are a little dated because this one's moved on quite a bit. Because at the moment, if I play this little clip, this is Brian Armstrong, the Coinbase CEO, basically saying that the banks are blocking the president's pro crypto agenda. They want to slow it down, control the system, and they want to stop it. See what he's got to say.
Got the Genius Act passed into law, which actually did enable stablecoin rewards to happen. The banks had their own concerns, and we reached a good outcome in the Genius Act. And now the banks really are coming and trying to undermine the president's crypto agenda. I mean, these are the same banks that debanked him and his family, right? And they want to come in and say that Americans should not be able to actually earn more money on their money. They're trying to protect their own profit margins, taking money out of the pockets of hardworking average Americans and putting it into the coffers of these big banks that are hitting record profits. And so our view is that there should be a level playing field where banks and crypto companies can lean into stablecoin legislation as an opportunity. And that includes paying rewards to Americans so that they can earn more money on their money. Got the Genius Act passed into law.
So the update on that since that, in the last 2 weeks, they seem to have reached an agreement, and supposedly the Genius Act is about to go through. So what will be very interesting, because it doesn't really affect Bitcoin whatsoever. The entire blocker was on stablecoins and the fact that they can pay basically staking rewards. If you stake it with one of the exchanges or stake it with the network, it will pay between 5 and 10% back. And that's just straight to the user, peer to peer, right? So the banks can't sit in the middle and just decide what the payback is. That's what they do today. The interest rates are 6%. They go, congrats, you can have 3% interest now on your money. You're like, hold on, where's the 3% gone? Well, we're getting that. Fuck you. What do you want to do about it? Every bank does the same. Everyone's 3% when interest rates are 6. They go up to 7, they give you 4. Go up to 8, they give you 5. They're always taking their cream off the top. And that's the whole debate about this. The stable coins, which I think is the thing that they do want to push down the CBDC route. They want to cream the top, and they want to go, hold on, we need a middleman in front of the crypto thing to make sure we get our cut. So I don't know how you square that circle, because the stablecoin guys and the Coinbase CEO, in reality, what he really wants to do is Brian Armstrong wants to be the guy in the middle that takes a cream off the top. Because if you stake using Coinbase, they cream off the top. I think they take 1% and then give you the 5, and it's meant to be 6. So the banks want to be in there and go in, well, hold on, why are you taking 1 and we get nothing? It's this takes off, we're going to be irrelevant. So how they squared that, I have no clue. Brian seemed to be very upset about this. So my guess would be they've given Brian one of those deals, which is roll over, vote for this, and you'll be richer than you can ever imagine. You'll win a Nobel Peace Prize. You'll win an Oscar if you want one. You can win the lottery multiple times if you want to, just for bants. But you need to agree with this. And we know it's against your morals and ethics, but you need to agree with it. And you need to openly talk about the fact that you agree with it. Or on the other hand, you can continue down the path you're going down, and we're going to close Coinbase down for regulatory break.
Yeah, I suppose there is always that threat. Like, even if you kind of think, oh, he's got good morals, they could be threatening his whole business, couldn't they?
Yeah, or they can close Coinbase down like that.
Yeah.
They can find that they could just seed it with a couple of drug dealers or whatever and just go, oh, you allowed this money to be laundered through. You know, they could find it because imagine like how many bank accounts exist,
But
and
banks, I suppose it is the point that banks would never do anything like that.
well, yeah, exactly. You could close any bank down.
HSBC in Mexico wouldn't have the biggest fine in bank history by actually adopting their what you call it, their check-in for cash, so it allows crates in from the Mexican cartel. Never happen.
Exactly. Exactly. It's
Dirty
why it's beautiful
coins.
that the world exists, that just about every company and every person has broken the law somewhere because the law is just so fucking harsh. And they just choose when and where to enforce it. And it usually will come at a time like this. So the fact that Brian has gone from being that outspoken, literally talking about the fact that the banks debanked Donald Trump because they didn't like him. And guess what? The Blues fucking told him to do it. Um, he mentioned that live on the air, right? So within 2 weeks, he's now going, we've got a deal. I'm like, there's no way. Because I completely agree with Brian here. He is completely in the right. The banks are trying to get their dirty, grubby hands on stuff. The innovation has come along and there's a different way of saving. I don't agree with the way of saving in this stable coin land. It's still backed by fear. I don't see the point in it whatsoever. I don't really care about the argument. I just care about Bitcoin. But the fact is, he's very passionate about it. He believes in this crypto bollocks. So for him to have gone back on that and somehow, because I can guarantee the banks haven't conceded. There's no way. There's no way the banks have just gone, okay, fine, let the world just have 6% interest on their savings. And because what's that going to do if you hold? Because I can see their dilemma, right? If you hold your dollars in JP Morgan, you'll get 3% interest. If you take your dollars and convert them to Tether, which is back 1 to 1 by US dollars, so it's essentially the same thing, you get 6% on your money. What's going to happen? Everyone's going to take their money out of the bank account and they're going to buy some Tether with it and take the 6%. That's what they're terrified of. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out in the wash. What deal was brokered, because we'll find out about it soon enough, because apparently a deal has been brokered. It's all going through, but no one knows the details yet.
It's funny though, like you see people's behavior change, like it was Mark Zuckerberg handing over data after what was the crypto which he was trying to get onto Facebook?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I nearly had it then.
It was something which basically would have got a shitload of adoption in it because it would have been the currency of Facebook, then potentially scaled outside. So they shut that off, and then he started giving everything to the government, didn't he?
Yeah,
Like
you basically built them a back door, yeah.
until
And
he
then
became font, until he became
Libra. It was Libra.
Libra, yeah. And then he turned into being the Fonz and was going surfing and things like that and growing out his hair and looking less like a waxy robot.
Yeah.
Um, and then you had Donald Trump, who seemed to be a bit contrary at first and now seems to be playing the party line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He
You
was a
know,
bit
it is
outspoken.
funny, like you see all these really big changes in behavior, and it kind of you probably get a few people who say you're a conspiracy theorist, but if you actually revisit this and think about how they've behaved and then how they've drastically changed since, you kind of go, who the hell is pulling the strings here?
Yeah. Oh, they dragged Mark Zuckerberg over the coals and threatened to split his company up into like 6 different pieces and all sorts unless he complied. And
It's
obviously, we don't
okay
know
now
what he
because he's
complied
grown
with.
his hair, goes surfing, does some kind of martial art, and goes on the Joe Rogan show.
Yeah. And weirdly, I think if you look at him now, he's so stress-free. You can almost see it in him. Before, he's running a business and fighting the government, and he was stressed as fuck. And in those court appearances that he did, he just looks washed out like a drone, desperately trying to remember his lines to not misspeak. Now he's loosey goosey, just chatting about anything, Mr. Cool. You just go, why, if you got no fear that your Facebook company will fail anymore, why are you so free? It's like, 'cause I signed a deal with the devil that said they'll never kill it, and they'll keep promoting me now. I've joined the dark side.
Do people really use Facebook that much anymore?
So I my missus still does, and I don't know.
Because
Apparently, people
is that where
still
you
do.
speak
I
to
haven't
each
had
other?
it for a while, but it's Instagram in it as well. He's got Instagram in there as well, and WhatsApp.
Yeah, true. I suppose WhatsApp, I don't I suppose it's stealing people's data and selling it. And then Instagram is the one which still has traffic. Whereas Facebook, I don't hear anyone talk about Facebook, but I suppose I'm the wrong demographic now.
Yeah. Well, every time I see some granddad or granny get arrested for what they said about immigrants or blues, it's always on Facebook.
I mean Democrats.
It's all no, they're British people.
Yeah, so getting arrested for talking about Democrats.
Oh right, yeah, the Democrats, yeah. For Everton fans. Uh, Obviously everything I'm saying at the moment is parody, and I'm playing a character for legal reasons. Uh,
Anyway, should we move on? So talked about what were we talking about? I suppose it was all the stuff. It was what's
The
his
Genius
name?
Act.
The Genius Act. So what's it, Sailor? I admittedly haven't seen this one because I didn't look at the agenda till late on. So what's Sailor? What's he done now?
Um, oh man, he's gone full fucking Ponzi scheme. That's what he's doing. Um, Go on then. Well, actually, let's just listen to the just read it a little bit first. But basically, he's gone. If you're Bitcoin maxi and you want to outperform Bitcoin, then you buy strategy master equity. If you want to have a comfortable ride and get paid 4 times more than the banks or money market would pay you, buy stretch SRTRC. And you just
What
go, well, hold on. If you're
the fuck is
Bitcoin
this?
Maxi, I buy MicroStrategy, and if I want to get paid even more, I buy Stretch. Like what?
What the hell
And
is this?
this is just it's insane, right? It literally is looking like Michael Saylor is genuinely running a Ponzi scheme at this point.
So Master Equity is buying shares in MicroStrategy because basically you're buying him assets. Um, So, yeah,
Yeah,
basically, all it appears to be is his company is founded on other people's money buying Bitcoin for his company.
exactly. Yeah. And the Stretch, what that does, that's basically some form of options vehicle or something. And that pays out a certain amount of guarantees dividends, and it's 4 times the interest you can get from other places. I think it pays out like 11 or 12%, but it's all heavily leveraged on the fact that the MicroStrategy stock continues to go up. So it's one of these classic things where it's a house of cards, and once like one of the next layers of the new fools kind of coming in to buy yet more MicroStrategy or Stretch. Once these kind of people stop, the entire thing collapses because it's not based on Bitcoin whatsoever. It's just based on a stock price, right? So once the faith is lost in the stock, it's dead, and
Yeah,
it
'cause
can
if you
trade
think
well
about it,
below what its my Bitcoin price would be.
the whole point of buying Bitcoin is buying an asset which is pure. You know, you're buying something which is direct, which can't be fucked around with by the government or companies. Whereas he's pretty much gone, oh yeah, buy Bitcoin through us. But what you're going to do is pay my CEO wages, pay for all my wages of my staff, pay for the building, pay for my corporate yacht and my corporate plane.
Yeah,
And when it does even out and the market gives a true value, it's going to be worth less than Bitcoin.
exactly.
It's nonsensical. Like the only benefit originally was that you couldn't get Bitcoin into your ISA.
Yeah, you can now, or into your pension. You can now.
Yeah. Well, not in the UK yet, can you?
Well, it depends if you buy MicroStrategy in it.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that's a benefit. Whereas in America, you can get the ETF, so you can put it into your what is it, 401k.
Oh yeah.
So it's just, and he's selling to the American market. He's not selling to us Europos. He knows we haven't got fuck all money.
Yeah.
Too far away from a money printer.
Yeah, but it's sad that it honestly does look like um It's just a big Ponzi. And it isn't going to be good for Bitcoin when it collapses. It's going to be
Um,
similar to FTX. It's going to be a
I believe
massive
it's
story.
staying. It's inevitable, isn't it? The only
Yeah.
reason why it's ahead is because it's the first, what do they call it? Bitcoin fund kind of like thing. So it's the first one, so it's less like to fall over. But we should probably see that some of these ETFs will fall over as well at some point.
Um, yeah, potentially. Who knows? But it's because the thing is like they're obviously they're potentially running a risk by selling Bitcoin and not backing it with Bitcoin. So I hope they fall over for the reason that they can't pay out their customers because they didn't really buy the Bitcoin that they said they did, and then the price just 100x's and they get fucked. That's all good. That's good. The problem with
Well,
the MicroStrategy one is Bitcoin can be rallying. It could be, doing great, but for whatever reason, people don't buy MicroStrategy, and that fails, and then it forces them to sell a load of Bitcoin, and you yeah, Saylor put out a meme before. I think it was only yesterday or maybe even today, and it said, when I first got into Bitcoin, they said to do a 5% allocation. And he goes, "You mean 5% of the supply?" As in, he wants 5% of the supply of Bitcoin. Right. So basically a million Bitcoin. That's what he's going for. And you just go, okay, if he genuinely has that and it isn't paper Bitcoin, yeah, you could cause some damage. And obviously Saylor's a massive name. It's just really frustrating that as Bitcoiners we've lauded Saylor, and I'm guilty of it. Obviously I've turned on him probably in the last year once I've seen how kind of scammy his share prices is getting in a couple of statements he
he's
said
trying to,
about
he's trying to get
mining and
he's trying to get more cash into MicroStrategy so he can buy more Bitcoin. But like I said, it just makes no sense to buy Bitcoin through it.
yeah, it's weird at this point. It's just bizarre. I actually don't know what his end game is because it looks like he's literally creating this. There's so many financial models on top of financial models that there's so many independencies. You just go, that collapses at some point. You don't get models. Literally, he's got basically that stretch product at the moment has genuinely been paying out 11 or 12% every month. This is monthly, not yearly. Every month for like the last 6 to 9 months. You go, that can't continue. That looks like a shitcoin. Shitcoins promise that, and they deliver it in the short term
I
until
say
it blows
next
up
it'll
and goes
be
to zero.
next it'll be selling beds.
Exactly, man. But anyway, let's get off fucking the gigacuck and US politics. Let's get into Satoshi, man. I saw this tweet about Satoshi, and I'm like, this is some good old Bitcoin content that is not, it's just evergreen, man. It's not fucking relevant this week. It's not relevant last week. It's just relevant fucking every day. And so this is a quote from Satoshi. I actually did this kind of backwards. I had to write all the code before I could convince myself that I could solve every problem. Then I wrote the paper. Read that again. Satoshi didn't write a white paper and promise to build it. He didn't raise money to fund development. He didn't release a roadmap for future milestones. He didn't launch a token before the product. Instead, he wrote the entire code, solved every problem, proved it worked, then wrote the white paper. I think I'll be able to release the code sooner than I could write a detailed spec, he added. Bitcoin launched with working code, not promises. Compare that to every other project. 50-page white papers, coming soon roadmaps, token sales before the product. Trust us, we'll build it. Satoshi, here's the code. It works. Now let me tell you what the fuck it does. And in case anyone doesn't believe that that's a real quote, or maybe I made up the last bit of that quote, but this is him on a Bitcoin peer-to-peer message board, basically answering questions about the code that he has just delivered to the world. and going, well, what are your comments? Here's the white paper. Oh yeah, by the way, all the code's written. It's here. And it just yet again is yet another hat tip to Satoshi being a fucking legend and not a fucking scammer like every other fucker on this planet. Everyone just freaking wants money, fraud, rope. Give me money and I'll deliver value in the future. He didn't ask for anything. He fucking coded the whole thing. We know he had help. We know he had a mailing list. He talked about the code and stuff with people. He discussed a white paper with people. But by the time he was ready to go public and go, right, outside of my mates, here we go. It's all fucking done.
Yeah, Craig Wright is great.
Ah, man. What we got here? Bitcoin-backed loans and mortgages with Coinbase. I don't remember freaking this story from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, March 26th.
I just thought, is this just another one of those? You're going to lose your Bitcoin, aren't you?
And you're home.
Yeah, because you kind of think, okay, so say we buy during the peak, say Bitcoin is what 150 grand, and then it goes into the winter and it's worth say 60, 70. What do we do in that situation?
Yeah, I know exactly. I must admit, for the first time in a while, I listened to a Twitter Spaces, and someone said the exact thing that it's controversial, but Bitcoin is not good collateral for a loan yet because the price fluctuates by too much. And how do you use it as collateral? The reason why collateral for mortgages, it tends to be either another house or cash. It very rarely is to go, oh, I have stocks in Apple or Microsoft. The bank won't typically value that unless it's such a value well above your house value. Could they go, oh, right, okay, let's say your house is worth 100K, just for sake of argument, and you've got 100K in Microsoft shares. It's unlikely they accept that as collateral if you don't prove that you can pay that loan back. And they go, your salary doesn't suggest you could pay back this 100K over this time period. So if you default, what do we collect? And you just go, well, obviously you got the house, but also the house devalues or whatever.
What about
here's my 100 grand of Microsoft shares?
What
They
about-
don't accept it because the Microsoft shares could dip by 50% tomorrow. And
What
obviously
about
so could Bitcoin.
What about if it was a treasure trove of stick dicks?
I'm pretty sure they just bite your hand off and go, how much do you want?
Like a lunchbox full.
So yeah, it's an interesting one. The fact that Coinbase are offering crypto-backed mortgages as well. That's what's hilarious. Obviously I wrote in the agenda, I hate like writing the word crypto. So I wrote Bitcoin-backed mortgages, which is risky enough, right? Risky enough over a short time period. Very fucking risky. You could have some serious grey hair moments that
Have you ever been in a situation where you think about what ended all those companies? What was it? Where you sold Bitcoin for you didn't sell it actually. You
staked it.
Staked it. Yeah, that was it. I can't remember the name of the company. The one which
BlockFi.
Yeah. So isn't in essence this the same kind of thing, or is Coinbase buying it with cash because they could end up with a load of negative equity there if they were doing it? I mean,
This is very, very different, right? So BlockFi, you just shove your Bitcoin on there and then they would give you an interest rate. So again, let's say you put 100K in there, they said you're going to get 10%, or 20%. So every year on your 100 grand, you get another 20K paid into it and you just keep, compounding that interest.
So they buy a house which is 300 grand, you stake it with
You stake 300 grand with them.
You do 150 grand against it, and then suddenly Bitcoin halves in value. I mean, say if Coinbase go, yeah, it's fine because it's worth 150 grand at the time. Doesn't that then plunge Coinbase's loan into negative equity?
It
and
does.
then they end up in a shitter just like BlockFi. They end up owing money.
Yeah.
It makes no bloody sense whatsoever unless say you go, oh, it dips down to 75 grand, therefore you've got to make up the difference. We're going to seize your home. It just doesn't make sense one bit.
Mm. And bizarrely, obviously at the moment we're talking about Bitcoin. There's going to be pe people doing this with Dink Doink. So
Might be like
imagine going
this
to
story.
Coinbase to go, yeah, I want $500,000 loan. They're like, all right, what's your income? Zero. I'm a crypto trader. They're like, okay. So instead, what I'll do is I'll stake a load of my coins with you as equity. So if I do default on this loan, that you take this instead, right? And you just go, okay, what have you got? 500,000 dink doink. And then
What about they go 500,000 with Dink Doink with a hat?
yeah. And then it goes down by 99%. And yeah. And then guess what? They default on the loan. They're still living in the house. It's just oh man. Coinbase and crypto fucking mortgages makes absolutely fucking no sense. But anyway, next story. Oh yes, this is a little story that it proper got hyped. I even had some messages. I even had some DMs on fucking Twitter about this one. This was
The end.
DMs, yeah. So this is actually some real life people. So this was called the Faucet and BTC.day. I was going to message you guys about it because I thought it was going to be an exciting thing at one point, but it turned out not to be, so I didn't bother. But basically, there used to be a Bitcoin faucet, and back when Bitcoin had zero value, all you had to do is complete a captcha, which is basically those captcha things to prove you're not a robot. You type in some letters, and you click enter, and as a reward, you would get 5 Bitcoin. This is back in 2009,
Oh,
2010. You get 5 Bitcoin for just completing a captcha, clicking enter. 5 Bitcoin dropped out of a little tap, and you type it, you paste your address in, and it would go to your address. 5 Bitcoin. So Block or Square basically said the Bitcoin faucet is back. And everyone got super fucking excited going, you're just going to give out Bitcoin for free? They didn't. It actually didn't. It ended up being a marketing ploy, really. But they did give out a lot of Bitcoin. And the problem was it's only to the US customers. Because guess what? It was Cash App you needed to have, which is only available in America, not available in the UK. And basically what you had to do is open the Cash App, find a Square business that accepts Bitcoin, spend $1 of Bitcoin, and then they would just put $25 worth of Bitcoin in your account. So it wasn't like you're getting 5 Bitcoin, you're getting $25. So technically it's $24. You'd have to buy something though. So you're buying something from them for $1 plus. So you're getting whatever product was being sold, you get that. You have to use Lightning. And once you've done it, they would just put $25 worth of in your Bitcoin into your wallet. And I'm pretty sure it was $1 million worth of Bitcoin they had to give away. So they basically gave $1 million worth of Bitcoin away in $25 kind of chunks just to a load of their US customers and forcing them to make a transaction using Lightning. So it's still pretty cool.
yeah, and $25, in a number of years, it could buy you a boat.
Yeah. You can buy you the boat that goes inside your popper boat. So it wasn't as exciting as people thought about it at first. I had this bookmarked and they did this like 4-day countdown. I was like, oh my God. But then some Bitcoiner hacked their website and basically revealed what the launch website was going to be. and it was just this. They just went, no, 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 they're not got a proper faucet. I can see what the website's going to be when the countdown goes to zero. Basically, it triggers this executable, and this executable launches this website, which just says buy stuff on Cash App through Lightning and get $25. And so everyone just went, oh, fuck off. But hey, maybe it increases the use of Lightning and stuff and gets people to use Bitcoin a bit more in Cash App.
It's a bit of clever advertising by the CEO of Bitcoin. That's what I look at it as. It's just a bit of a kind of like Bitcoin advertising. Admittedly, it's more for Cash App, but I kind of go, there'll be some benefits.
Yeah. I think the thing you probably shouldn't have done is called it the Bitcoin faucet, because that has a lot of lore behind it. Where
What do you
yeah.
call it? The Bitcoin drip.
No, you just don't fucking relate it to it all. Just create your own thing. You're giving away a load of free Bitcoin if you use Lightning on Square. Just fucking brand it in there. Don't brand it to an original thing that came out in 2009, where anybody that used it is now instantly a millionaire if they managed to hold that Bitcoin the 17 years. But because, 5 Bitcoin, what a fucking dream. Imagine just sitting there filling out a captcha and getting 5 Bitcoin every time. Oh my God.
So that was like, was it 2010, 16 years ago? I just kind of go, I think that's when we were house sharing.
Mm,
Probably playing Gears of War instead and drinking beer and pizza.
yeah. I
Yeah,
spent 10 minutes filling out that captcha,
could have like done it every day.
and Rich should be on my wildest dreams.
Yeah, maybe it'd be you going to Epstein Island instead of Sir Neverlook.
Yeah. Right. Hot dog. Oh. But anyway.
I thought this next story was actually probably the most interesting of the bunch about the hardware wallet in Hong Kong.
Ooh. Go on then. Take it
So
away.
this is a story that apparently in Hong Kong, under enforcement rules, it's a criminal offence not to provide passwords. So I think I'm guessing this probably um, applies to any kind of device. And obviously Bitcoin hardware wallet being with it. And it is one which has gone through my head because you kind of go, oh yeah, say if UK goes even more totalitarian, then you want to flee with your Bitcoin. How are you going to get it across borders? And this is like exactly what I've been thinking. Do you try and hide it in a book? Do you risk it in a book? Do you try and memorize it? How do you memorize all that information? I just kind of like, yeah. And then there's this basically going, if you have a device on you, we're going to take it. If you have your steel on you, they're going to find it via a scanner.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. So, well, the way to get it through the passport in reality is you don't take the hardware wallet at all. You got to be very, very careful taking hardware wallet through customs, because they can absolutely basically imprison you unless you give them the password to open it. And then once it's open, they can transfer out the contents. So the way I would do it if I was fleeing the country right now is I'd get my 24 words out and I would find a random book and I would circle the words that match in the book.
You got to think,
And I would slightly number them, probably to give myself a bit of a hint as to what order to put them in. Because just knowing the 24 words, there's people that have done it. They've actually put their 24 words out there in a randomized way and gone, figure it out. It's still nearly impossible to crack someone's 24 words, even if you know what they are and don't know the order. So you don't take your steel, you don't take your hardware wallet, you just take your 24 words in a hidden way. And
yeah,
in reality, you could write them on a scrap of bit of paper and you can shove it in your wallet. They're not going to find that,
and
or
it's
hide it in a
also
book,
you may
wherever.
not have to write down the words as well, because you kind of think it's part of the what is it, the BIP? I forgot what the code is called.
Yeah, BIP 39, where
but you know that, and then it's a numbered one.
It's
So
just
you
three.
it's word number 39, it's word
Yeah, yeah,
1002,
you could.
and that is quite ominous if you just see a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's actually one of my backups. Is literally a book because the BIP 39 uses relatively common used words. If you get a book that obviously it needs to be a decent book, like an actual adult book, not a freaking 3-year-old book or
Are you
something.
saying it's not going to be my Garfield books?
I'm just saying, yeah, not the books you read are just pictures. It needs words. And if you get
Two
one,
words in Garfield like lasagna. Is that in the words?
I don't think lasagna is actually no. But it's surprising actually how easily it is to find. You kind of go, and you can do it just potentially just do it in order. Don't want to give out too many of my secrets, but if anyone finds a book now randomly with like a load of words circled, they'll be freaking searching for it. But the way I did it was just start from the beginning of the book, look for word number one, and weirdly you find it, and you're like, I wonder what the odds are. I found word number two, and you quite quickly you find it again, and you get to the end of the book and you found all 24 words, and you go, all right, they're all just circled in order, and it would be very confusing for someone. So what I randomly also then did, I went in with a different pen and just circled a load of random shit as well, so I know which color pen is my words, and there's some random other words circled in there as well, just in case someone was like, if I count up all the circled words as 24, I'm like, well, now it isn't. Now there's like 70 words that are circled. So good luck finding the 24 that are the ones. But that is how I get through it. If I was fleeing the UK right now and I knew they were like literally looking for Bitcoiners leaving, I'm fairly confident I could get through. But yeah, you don't take your steel with your backup words on. You do not take the hardware wallet whatsoever. You just take your 24 words in some kind of coded way, in some kind of document that they wouldn't be able to search or find. And then you get the other side, then you buy a hardware wallet that aside, put your words in, bang, you got your Bitcoin back.
Yeah, it is a conundrum which has gone through my head now to better protect
Yeah.
and
Never take your hardware wallet though through a
and also steal.
passport
It'll be
bank
picked up
control.
on the scanner, so you do need some other way of doing it. It could even be taking the numbers and having some kind of like way of, I suppose, mixing up slightly. So it's not as straightforward as just going, oh yeah, I can see they've got these 24 numbers. Maybe it's got some kind of like, in a way, cipher to mix it all up.
Oh yeah, be as creative as you possibly can. Um, but the thing with always with Bitcoin security is be super creative that if somebody was to try and crack this, they wouldn't get it straight away. But don't do it that it's so complicated that in 5, 10 years time you forget.
Wow, you just have it going through a country, so really you'd want it for a week or something like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Before you do it on the other side.
yeah. You just need to make sure when you're on the other side you can remember, yeah. So yeah, be
But
as
like, yeah,
creative. There's a million ways, right? Of like, I think if you just like sat 100 people in a room and went, what's the best way of at the moment you have 24 words on some steel. You have a pen and paper and all that kind of stuff and some books and a load of carry-on luggage. You have to get those 24 words through me to there, and I'm allowed to search everything that you've got on you. I'm pretty sure the 100 people would come up with 100 different ways of figuring out how to hide those 100. Because the best thing you can also do, by the way, is don't put all 24 words down. Keep like two or three in your head. So in reality, even if someone cracks your code, they manage to reverse engineer everything you've done and they find the 21 words all in order for you. The fact they still don't have the final three will still fuck them up. There's still a huge amount of processing that would be required to get the final three because there's still loads of words that could be learned in loads of different orders. Or maybe make it four. Three is actually isn't that difficult to crack. To why pin codes, anyone can guess someone's pin code, right? I know your PIN code, all 4 digits of your PIN code are 0 to 9. How hard can it be? There's 10 combinations of each number. It's actually very fucking hard because when you put those 10 combos 4 times, it's exponentially difficult to actually figure out what your PIN code would be. There's the same with the words. There was a couple of hundred words, and if you don't know the final 4, even though you know the first 20, all you've done is gone, oh, right, instead of having a quadrillion years for processing power, I just need 100 million years of processing power. Yeah, good. You've still got 100 million years to go. So see you later. So that's another potential way of getting through the airport. But all right, final sale story of the week, and it is from some guy managed to get on freaking the CEO, the diary of a CEO. And I don't even know how this. Oh, right, yeah, the Bitcoin account. So economist Steve Keen. Go on.
He's a bit of a retard, this guy. I've come across him before on Twitter. I think
Yeah.
it's some quotes and videos, and he is a proper full retard. Like,
Yeah. He's a proper bellend. Yeah, obviously he. Well, let's listen to him. Where did he get his fucking advice from?
I wanted to
ignore.
something you actually said earlier. You
Bitcoin.
talked about Bitcoin briefly.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that you think Bitcoin's going to zero.
Yeah.
Okay, this is worrying. I think I have some Bitcoin. You're an economist.
Yeah.
You're saying that Bitcoin is going to zero. Why?
Because ultimately, because of its reliance upon energy. I mean, you know Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert. Have you met them at all?
No.
They were sort of the original proselytizers for Bitcoin, and they're now living in, I think, El Salvador, which has adopted Bitcoin as a form of currency. When they told me about Bitcoin, I could have bought it for £1 of Bitcoin, which I would have been maybe wealthier than you if I'd done that. The reason I didn't is they explained that the way that the public ledger is kept safe is that it takes too much energy to break it. So each transaction requires 10 minutes of computer processing time globally, by the looks of it, to actually create an extra Bitcoin. And that means it's too expensive for somebody to try to break the ledger. That means it's got a huge requirement for energy use. And I believe, knowing what I know from climate scientists, that at some point we're going to realize we're using far too much energy on the planet. We've got to cut the energy consumption. And the 2 easiest things to cut out to reduce energy consumption are cryptocurrencies.
Cryptocurrencies and international travel. So that is why.
What he knows from climate scientists is the funniest bit. So who are these famous climate scientists? I'm in a room with you.
I know. I love how he remembers the name of the Bitcoiners though. What a name drop that is. Like, he literally had Max and Stacey Kaiser trying to orange pill him when Bitcoin was $1.
But
And he's like, nah.
It's his brand. It's like, bro, I'd be wealthier. It's like, here I am on your show, getting a little appearance fee of 10 grand, and then spending it on God knows what. Whereas I could be on an island right now. And he looks like the type of person who'd be probably eating hot dogs.
Yeah. I actually think, I mean, if I tried to think of the most retarded person in the world, I think I probably would say it would be an economist that listens to climate change activists. And that's him. He's like, you've got it.
So we're going to have to cut down on cryptocurrencies and climate change. It's just like,
what?
Oh,
yeah.
What
Well,
about
international travel? He said at the end. I think it got the clip gets cut off, but he thinks that like imagine like to save the planet, you're going to get rid of cryptocurrency. Well, okay, most of the cryptocurrencies don't use any energy because they're just fucking centralized pieces of shit. Bitcoin's the only one that uses energy. That's 0.01% of the energy total usage on the planet. So congratulations, you saved 0.1. Oh, international travel. All right, that's probably a bigger chunk, but you're seriously just going to lock everyone at home now?
And also with if climate change scientists are so great and renewables are so great, why is it an issue? I thought solar and wind were harnessing like loads of energy around the world. Isn't that what's happening?
Yeah.
Especially in the UK and Germany, and that's why our prices have gone up so much.
Yeah. But
Not
imagine
many-
being that
not
salty
many
about
people.
Bitcoin, though. You could have bought, even if you just went, you know what? He's an economist, right? He fucking knows the economy. He's got a lot of money. So you could have dropped $1,000 into Bitcoin, back when Max and Stacy told him about it. He now would have 1,000 Bitcoin if he'd have held it until now. And just as a punt. But instead, he's on a podcast when Bitcoin is basically hovering just below the $100,000 per coin mark. He's still saying, just dropping into conversation, not even in a question related to Bitcoin, the Bitcoin's going to zero. And it's just laughable, man. Absolutely laughable that he's that salty. But to be honest, I think I'd be pretty angry at myself if I'd have been around. If I had that same origin story as him, that Max Kaiser told me about Bitcoin at £1 and I didn't buy any, I don't think I could get up in the morning either. So, all of us have the story of going, oh yeah, we saw Bitcoin at a much lower price that we bought in for, but it was kind of our own brains that didn't capture it well enough, and we weren't being sat down with one of the OGs. But man, if I'd have been in this space, I'd have been in finance or I'd been an economist, and randomly I had Max Kaiser sat next to me at a conference and he tried to tell me to buy Bitcoin at £1, and I just laughed in his face and said no. And then for the next 16 years, I continued to go, no. And I'm still on podcast saying Bitcoin's going to zero. It's sad, man. So, sad, sad, sad. But as we always like to say, you buy Bitcoin at the price you deserve. The information's been open source since day one. Satoshi made it that way. How long it takes you to get it, it's all down to you. And on that note, I am going to bed. I can just see Liverpool are about to crash out the Champions League. See you later.
Places.